I'm calling this January 5th meeting of the Public Works, January 5th, 2021 meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. Pursuant to the Illinois Attorney General's guidance to public bodies on the Open Meetings Act during the COVID-19 pandemic dated July 2nd, 2020, county board members may participate without being physically present in compliance with the established provisions. And I'll just remind everyone, one of those established provisions is that we do roll call on every vote. So, but we'll move along. So first of all, I'd like to start with our attendance roll call, please. Hello.
Desart.
Here.
Hart.
Here.
Ozog.
Here.
Carnatori.
Here.
Bay.
Here. I'm here, Mary.
Okay, thank you. I really wish I knew where my picture was, but okay. Technical difficulties. We'll carry on. Okay.
Yeah, we'll call out if anybody has any questions.
Okay, thank you. It worked for the last meeting, but here we are. Okay, next, do we have any public comments for today?
We do not have any public comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had chairman's remarks. Forgive me. Okay, first of all, I want to welcome everybody here today. We're kicking off a new 2-year period for Public Works, and I'm very excited to be leading this group. There are some very important projects, both in the works and planned. This committee's vice chair is member Greg Hart. The staff, the committee is headed by Nick Kottmeyer, who's also, besides our executive director of Public Works. And our staff assistant is Angela Bendinelli. Did I say that right, Angela? And then I also want to thank, on the 17th of December, I got together with Nick and Angela, Tim Harbaugh, Sean Reese, Stanley Spira. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody, but we had a very good introductory meeting I have been on the committee for the last 2 years, but to bring me up to even better speed, let's put it that way. Also, as you'll hear in the staff presentation in a moment, bringing everybody up to speed, there's a robust work plan for 2021. At this point, in terms of new directions or thinking about new other initiatives, et cetera, I think right now our major issue for the next 6 months at least is that our projects continue in the most safest manner possible for all staff, all employees, all contractors, while we continue to battle this pandemic. So that is our big priority. I also want to welcome our new board members, and I also want to welcome returning board members as well, and anyone who's new to the committee. That's my remarks, and I still can't see anybody, so this is a little weird, but carrying on. I would like to move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment today?
We do not have any public comment.
No? Okay. Nope. Then I'd like to move on to the approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of Tuesday, December 1st, 2020?
So moved, Chaplain.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Okay. Any questions, discussions about the minutes from December 1st? Okay, hearing none, right? This is a real interesting way to do a meeting here, but we're carrying on. I would like to have a roll call to approve the minutes.
Chaplain. Aye. Desart.
Aye.
Hart.
Aye.
Ozog.
Aye.
Carnatori.
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
Okay, that's all.
Approved.
Okay, thank you. Next, I want to move on to a presentation which will be very helpful for both new and old board members on the committee. Nick, I'm going to turn over to you a departmental overview and listen and learn. Thank you very much.
We'll let IT load up the presentation. And
oh, I'm back. Hello, everybody.
Oh, there you go. We will send this out to all members to make sure you have it. And we're one of the few committees that I don't think we have any new members, but we have new veteran members on it. So I'm sure that everything we're going to say here, you guys have already seen and heard, but we'll be brief on it. And if you have any follow-up questions, please let us know. Everybody knows me in my one role as administrative officer, but I'm also public works director. The day-to-day operations for public works and facilities, Sean Reese is the operations manager for public works. And then Tim Hardbaugh is deputy director for facilities management. And then everybody knows Stan Spear as well, the finance and administration officer for public works. What I will do is I'm going to actually turn it over to them. I may interject every once in a while, but we'll start with public works. And Sean, if you give a brief overview.
Sure, sounds good. Well, welcome all the members. I'm excited to give this presentation and bring you guys up to speed on what we're doing in public works over the next few years. Currently have 96 employees in public works. That's our engineering staff, permitting, operations, maintenance staff. A good portion of them are located at our Woodridge Green Valley facility located down in Woodridge. We have two collective bargaining groups. Local 150 is all of our maintenance personnel in public works. And then we have local 399 as those facilities. That's our operators, stationary engineers, and our electricians in public works. I'll go to the next slide. 6 drinking water systems are ran and operated by us. That's kind of scattered throughout DuPage County. We have 5 Lake Michigan water systems, and we have 1 well water system. It's a small reverse osmosis plant up in Itasca. We have our 3 major wastewater treatment facilities, and then we have actually 5 collection systems that we own and operate as well. Yeah, that diagram kind of shows you our service area. It's overlaid with the water and the sanitary, mainly down in the southeast portion of DuPage is where our 2 regional plants are, Blue Ridge and our Woodridge Green Valley plant. We serve approximately 200,000 residents with wastewater, and we have about 4,500 customers for our water system. Go to the next slide, please. This one is a financial snapshot. I'll turn this over to Stan to kind of explain this slide.
Good morning. Just want to call attention to the box to the left, which is our 2021 budget. Our revenue is $29 million. O&M expenses a little under $25 million. We do have bond and debt service of $1.9 million. But what I really want to highlight is capital expenditures of $10.9 million. We'll be starting the Nordic plant rehabilitation in 2021. This is the capital spending is anticipated to be much higher than it has been in recent years because the master plan projects are really starting to roll forward. Off to the right, so that's our budget, but off to the right is a financial snapshot. These are the key metrics that we really look at closely, annual basis and periodically throughout the year to look at the financial stability of the public works department, which is really a municipal utility. A couple of debt coverage ratios. So the first section is debt coverage per our ordinance. You can see that we're anticipating to finish 2020 debt coverage of 2.62 for the all revenue bonds, and then all that factor in the IEPA loan is 2.22. And then we're projecting to have healthy metrics into 2021. The key takeaway here is that according to our public works policy or county policy, we want to stay above 1.5 on that section. So obviously being over 2.0, we're really in a healthy position as we move forward with our master plan and our projects. The S&P calculation differs slightly. And it factors in connection fees. Again, S&P calculation well above 2 at the end of 2020. That metric, we want to stay above 1.6. That's what's required to have a AAA bond rating. Other data, cash reserves, real healthy at the end of 2020, get above $15 million. That has been built up because our capital plan It's going to be funded through a combination of loans as well as cash reserves and ongoing cash. Next slide, Sean.
So as Stan mentioned, about 3 years ago, we did a pretty comprehensive 20-year capital improvement plan for all of our facilities, our water and wastewater systems. The main driver behind that was a lot of the regulatory changes that are coming towards the wastewater industry. Our plant was aging, they're 40+ years old plants. So we wanted to make sure we did a good look at our infrastructure and we're spending our money wisely as we move forward. This slide, the next couple of slides reviews some of the major improvements that were identified in that capital plan. These first three are actually ongoing projects. We started the Nordic wastewater treatment plant. That bid was just awarded a few months ago to J.J. Henderson. We anticipate starting construction in that plant in Itasca within the next month or two. Tough little projects, just a real small footprint. There's a lot of environmental issues there, there's wetlands, there's a floodplain there, so that'll be an interesting project to complete. But once that plant's done, we'll be in really good shape there to meet regulatory requirements for the next 50 years there. So we'll be really ahead of the game there. The Woodridge Green Valley Fuel Station is a regional fueling station. The sheriff uses it, DOT uses it, stormwater uses it, and the public works. We actually make that available to outside DuPage County, Woodridge Fire Department, the Village of Woodridge use that fueling station. That should be complete within the next 2 to 3 months. Public Works and Stormwater SCADA system upgrades. That's actually one of the projects that was identified as CARES Act eligible. We have made some really good progress in that. That will give us complete automation of all of our facilities. We'll be able to monitor them. We'll be able to change them and operate them remotely. So it limits the exposure of our employees out on the wastewater plant. If our employees are out for whatever reason, we can still operate our plants from remotely. So next slide. I'll go through these quickly. Woodridge and Knollwood wastewater treatment plant electrical upgrades. That's one of the projects identified in our plan. We are about at 80% engineer design on that. The AMI system for the water meter replacement. Our meters are about 40+ years old. So that's a collaborative effort between us, the Village of Woodridge, Lyle, and Darien. We're looking to replace all of our meters and upgrade to an AMI system. The sanitary sewer rehabilitation. Every year we do about $300,000 in trenchless rehabilitation of our pipelines, our infrastructure. Woodridge Green Valley headworks improvements, that's screen and grit removal. Phase 1 improvements of the plant. Those are all improvements that were identified in our capital plan to the Woodridge and Knollwood treatment facilities. And then tower painting. Our towers, every probably 6-7 years, we need to do we either clean them or we paint them. So we have about $1 million over the next 4 years of tower painting. Some of the other initiatives, we're currently in negotiations with the EPA for our MPDS permit for Woodridge and Knollwood. They're going well. We have our draft permit from Knollwood. Nothing surprising in that one. Woodridge, the big driver there will be the phosphorus limits that they impose on us. But I think the negotiations are going pretty well. We expect to stay on the phosphorus limit. If we do get a phosphorus limit, it's a pretty big expense for the Woodridge treatment plant. We would have to add some processes there. One thing Nick and I have been working on with waste management, the Green Valley landfill is right next to our Woodridge plant. There's an opportunity for them to send leachate to our facility for treatment. It'd be a pretty good revenue stream for us. They would pay us a $700,000 connection fee. We could use that towards improvements to the plant, and it's an ongoing $55,000 a year in treatment costs, depending upon what they pump to us. South Regional Water Facility, that was an old reverse osmosis plant when we transitioned over to Lake Michigan water. That building was vacant, so it was almost a liability for us. So we negotiated a deal with the Darien Park District. They were actually looking for a garage and facility, so we sold that to them for $1.65 million. We should have that transfer of ownership wrapped up in the next probably 4 or 5 months. Billing software system, that's something Stan's been working on with the billing group. It'll integrate well into our new metering system and AMI system. It just provides better customer service for all of our billing. We do the billing for Darien, Lyle, and not Woodridge. Woodridge we did the metering before, but we do billing for other agencies as well. One thing just to keep the committee up to date as far as shutoffs. There was during the pandemic, the governor had to stay on shutoffs and charging late fees for non-payment of water and sewer bills. We have maintained that stay. We're not charging late fees, and we're not shutting people's water off. So probably sometime in the first quarter, we'll be bringing that back for your concurrence on that to let you know where we're at. We do lose a little bit of revenue, but sooner or later we need to start enforcing that rule. Shared services is something we do with stormwater as well. That's starting to ramp up. We see a big need for a lot of our more technical equipment, like our lining equipment, our televising equipment. A lot of municipalities call us and ask us to come to their systems and provide that service for them. It's a little bit of a revenue stream, helps justify some of the more expensive equipment, but that really seems to be ramping up over the last couple of years. So I wanted to make sure that was available to any municipality in DuPage. Tim, this is you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. For facilities management, our mission statement is on. I'm going to read it for you. We pretty much oversee the facilities. Facilities are kind of divided up into 4 groups. We have the correctional, the medical, which is the care center, the judicial, and then traditional office facilities. They all have various needs. We have a staff of about 105 people, full-time equivalents. Operating budget has been pretty consistent, about $11.4 million. Our operating budget tends to bounce with utilities. Our operating budget is about 40% salaries, 30% utilities, and 30% contracts and commodities. I'll go through that in a little bit with you. I'm going to probably spend the most amount of time on capital, but this year we got about $2.1 million, which is right what we asked for 2021. We try and ask for about $2.2 million. It helps for finance department to know what if we're consistent with what our needs are. 2 bargaining units, $399 and $150. Next slide, please. This is kind of a summary. I'll let you guys read it on your own of what we do, all the different aspects we do with campus. The one thing is emergency response is one we work with a lot of other departments on. That's not us. The other ones I pretty much were the lead on. I did distribute to everybody that's here today a summary of all of our contracts for our operating budgets. For those of you that are here on Zoom, I will distribute those to you as well. I couldn't put it in the presentation because it's just not legible. It needs to be an 11 by 17 paper, at least where I am in the world with my eyes, and you can't read it at all. So as the year goes through, we'll be renewing these contracts, fitting them out through procurement and various pieces that go with that. Next slide, thank you. This is just a summary. I'm not going to spend any time on this. This is what we budgeted to do for our capital program for 2021. The one thing that I will say with capital now, and I'll say it again a little bit later, capital is fluid. New things rise to the top, and other components we try and push where we can. But the majority of my time goes through. I shouldn't say majority of the time, but the largest task I do is juggling the capital throughout the year, putting higher priorities that rise to the top, and trying to push components where we can. But like your home and like your cars, we push our components pretty far. We push them as far as we can. If we go too far, it's really bad. So we don't push them too far. We push them as far as we can. Next slide. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this in about a month or two, but about 60% of the CARES Act money was directed to facilities for various programs we needed to do. You can see in the 505 building, we replaced the entire HVAC system. That was a monster undertaking. The judiciary had a lot of needs for social distancing, for jury deliberations. They still need to do their jobs, and nothing was set up for social distancing. So we spent a lot of energy on that. UV disinfection in the 503 building, that was needed not only for short term, but for long term. We did some negative pressure activities in both the 501, the jail facility, and then also in the care center. So when they have residents in there in a negative pressure scenario, the air stays within that.
Only don't forget to bring a mask to the dentist, period. They sent me a text, period.
And then the last one is we did $1 million for the coroner's office. That was planned. Good or bad, it was pulled out of the 2020 budget because it was pulled, it was CARES Act eligible, but the coroner's office is one where there's a huge need there because they do not know what is entering their building with every person that they're doing an autopsy. So that's not just that's just our current pandemic. That occurs day in, day out. A lot of that was a big project as well. Next slide. This is just kind of this is the last slide we have. Kind of like I told the example with your home, but we do have large pent-up capital demands. Traditionally, it's about every 10 to 15 years that need to be addressed at a campus this size of 2 million square feet. But we've got about $37 million of pent-up demand that we're recommending needs to be addressed over the next 2 to 4 years. There's a summary of it. About a third of it is the parking decks. About a fifth of it is the sheriff's JLB replacement facility. And then there's some smaller tasks as well. The last capital bond program that was done was actually done in 2010. It was called the RZ bond, which is, we're drifting into 11 years since a lot of the larger capital needs have been met. So from there, that was everything I had put together.
So two quick takeaways, and I know we got to get on with the rest of the agenda. It's pretty short, but from a financial standpoint, the important thing to remember, Public Works Enterprise Fund, totally reliant upon the user fees that come in the door. Facilities management, 100% reliant on the general fund. Public Works completed the 20-year facility plan that we're following. I mean, everything is falling into place exactly how we planned with the 20-year with all of our projects. Facilities management is a little bit different. Tim mentioned it before. It's definitely a push-pull type of operation. We try to get as much as we can for capital projects. That's a big pressure in that department. Some years we're very successful. Finance will find us a couple $1 million. We can do some pent-up demand. Some years we don't get hardly anything. So it's very much up and down at facilities, but there is a bill coming due in the near future, next couple of years, that we will have to, and we've said that for a couple of years now, we will have to be looking at maybe a bond issue, something like that, to take care of some of the big projects, especially the parking deck. That's the one where at some point, if we push it off too long, it'll start costing us more money. So those are the kind of the big pressures. So that's just a real quick overview. Are there any questions for either Public Works or Facilities? I don't know, Chairman Ozog, I don't know if you can see, but Member Dessart has a question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Member Dessart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is my first term on this committee, and so I'm eagerly trying to catch up to speed as quickly as I can. Interested in the anticipated capital expenses. You have done a great job, outstanding job identifying some of the major infrastructure expenses, but Stan was talking about, or he alluded to, a master plan. Is there a place where I can find the master plan?
We'll send, that's a great point. We will send the 20-year master plan to every member on this committee. So you will get that in email later today.
Okay, thank you, Nick. And just real quick, how old is that parking deck? And what's the standard? How often does it have to be maintained?
There's two decks that were both constructed in 1992. The 479 deck is 1,000 cars. The 509 deck is 2,000 cars. We evaluated them about 2 years ago, and we're right on schedule where we are, but 25 to 30 years. A lot of it depends on usage. Where the 509 deck is probably used, wild guess would be 55, 60%. So we're not as much stress on it as we would be if it was at 100%. But they're both in decent shape. But we're at this curve where if we don't get the work, the degradation is going to exceed the cost if we don't do the work. And probably about 2 or 3 years. We were fortunate that finance got us about $350,000. We did our initial work. The worst areas are the entrance because of road salt and the top because of UV. And we've hit the worst areas so far, and the assessments that we found, it's in about as condition we thought it would be. You don't know how bad they are until you open it up and look at it, and we got some of that done this fall.
Thank you, Tim. Nick, you mentioned the bond issue down the road to cover some of these massive expenses, and you talked about the parking deck. Do you have a couple of more items that are on the wish list for that?
Yeah, on Tim's last slide, and I will send that slide around. We'll send that slide deck to everybody. It lists all the big ticket items that really don't have funding lined out for facilities management. Those are the ones that if we get to a point, and I know there's other departments, other elected officials that have needs, and we can package at that time, but we're just kind of throwing that marker out there that, within the next couple of years, we've got to be talking about some of these, otherwise the expenses will start to ramp up pretty high. So that list that was on the last slide deck lists all the big ticket items that are unfunded.
All right, thank you. It was really tiny, so it was hard to see. One final thought, a question, Nick, have we thought about, I know the state of Illinois, the budget is really tight right now, but last spring, they passed like a $54 billion bill to help with transportation and road and infrastructure in the state. Could we Could we apply for some of that grant money?
We actually we have applied, and every year we apply. That's one of the tasks of Cheryl Marquet. She puts together our capital plan, and we send it down to all our legislators, and they will pick some of those and put them in. And we actually were lucky on the public works side, and we have a couple projects in public works that are in there. However, although they're named in there, there's no money available. So, and who knows how long it'll take, but I don't think there was anything from the facility side. The public works was lucky enough to have a couple picks.
Okay, thank you all for an outstanding presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Nick, and everybody for a great presentation with a great overview. Nick, has everyone received this via email or?
No, it will be as soon as we're done. I will send it out to all the members.
As well as the 10-year plan. That would be really helpful. Okay, super. Thank you. I'm now going to move on to item number 6, budget transfers. I'd like a motion to approve a budget transfer for $7,025. Transfer requested for purchase of a new Arctic 8-foot snow pusher, sectional plow with skid loader mount.
So moved, Desart.
Thank you. Great, thank you. Any questions or discussions about this? Seeing and hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Desart,
Aye.
Hart,
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Zay,
Aye.
Chaplin. Aye. Okay, motion approved.
Thank you. Number 7, we have consent items. All of these are contract extensions. I'd like a motion to combine and approve A through D.
Chaplin.
Second, Desart.
Thank you. Any discussion over any of these consent items? Seeing and hearing none, roll call, please.
Chaplin. Aye. Desart,
Aye.
Hart.
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Zay,
Aye.
motion approved.
Number 8, claims report, payment of claims. I see nothing here. Mr. Kottmeyer, any comments about this?
Stan, do we have any payment of claims in there, or yeah, the payment of claims for public works and facilities management? If they're combined and approved usually.
Okay, so we're good for right now. Okay, we'll move on to number 9, professional
I'll
service.
move to combine and approve item 8A.
8A, oh, I'm sorry, okay. Motion to approve and combine item 8A.
So move.
Yeah, Tornatori and Chaplin second. Okay, all right.
Lynn?
Tornatori,
Aye.
Zay,
Aye.
Chaplin. Aye. Desart,
Aye.
Hart.
Aye.
Ozog.
Aye,
Okay, motion approved.
thank you. Number 9, professional services agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois and Duschler Engineering Corporation for on-call as needed professional engineering services for energy and demand response for multiple county facilities for public works, stormwater management, division of transportation, for a total contract amount not to exceed $90,000. Professional services, architects, engineers, and land surveyors vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with the Illinois Local Government Professional Services Selection Act 50 ILCS 510 at SUQ. I'm sorry. May I have a motion
So Chaplin.
and a second? Thank you. Any discussion over this? Or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Chaplin. Aye. Desart,
Aye.
Hart.
Aye.
Ozog,
Aye.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Zay.
Aye.
Okay, any old business? Seeing and hearing none, any new business today? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Tornatori,
Aye.
Zay,
Aye.
Chaplin. Aye. Desart.
Aye.
Hart.
Aye.
Ozark.
Aye. Thank you so much, everybody, and look in your email for all of that explanatory information, and look forward to our next meeting. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.